day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be doing an unboxing video for overseas plants from Aroid Asia. As always, please make sure you are pressing the like button and hype button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. And also give me a follow on my Instagram page at GrowFold. We are looking at Aroid Asia's Instagram page because I wanted to show you another overseas seller of beautiful plants. Thank you to Aroid Asia for reaching out to me to do an unboxing collaboration video. They sell many different types of Aroids, and so if you are into getting plants and you want to get some amazing plants that you may not necessarily be able to get in the United States, they are able to provide this. And what I love about Aroid Asia, again, is that you don't necessarily have to have an import license because they go through a broker. I believe their broker is plantstop.us, and you can see right here, hashtag popularize Aglaonema. So for all of the plant foldies and for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie and I do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. You can see that they have so many varieties of Aglaonemas that you can get from Aroid Asia. If you are looking for these rare and uncommon Aglaonemas and you're willing to try to get plants from overseas, I will tell you the process in which they take care of their plants. So in order to get plants from overseas, there is a very strict and rigorous process. As you can see right here, they sent me some videos of how they prepare their actual plants. So what they have to do is actually remove every single speck of soil off of the roots and make sure that they clean it. So you can see right here, Aroid Asia follows very strict regimen in terms of making sure that these plants are pest free and follow all the guidelines of their country as well as the USDA in terms of being able to go overseas from Indonesia to the United States. You can see that once they clean the soil, they put it in some type of chemical that actually makes sure that they get rid of the actual plant pests. And once that happens, you can see that they have very meticulous packing. I love the fact that they really do take the time to pack these plants. And you have to think that especially if you are receiving plants from overseas all the way in Indonesia, on average, at least for these plants to reach me, which is in North Dallas, these travel about 10,000 miles. So it is really a rigorous process. Things that I would also like to highlight is if you're ever considering getting plants from actual overseas, know that these plants may not always come in perfect condition. There is an acclimation period, and even then having realistic expectations for the plants. But as you can see right here, Aroid Asia does pack their plants very well, and they definitely have a phytosanitary certificate, which is what it is needing in order for these plants to actually travel from one country to another. Thankfully, they go through a broker that actually imports these plants on behalf. Now, speaking of import plants, I also wanted to show you a project that I've been working on alongside with another seller, Art Garden Flowers. My friend Harry of Miami Plants and I have actually collaborated to create one of the first English hardcover books about Aglaonema hybrids from Indonesia. It will also go highlight the plant care tips, plant propagation, the history of the plants, and this has so many beautiful photographs. And I want to congratulate Harry of Miami Plants under Art Garden Flowers. Both are on Instagram, and I hope Plant Foldies, you guys will support this because I really truly feel like this is a book that everybody needs to get. There is a couple of pages featuring me and my journey with plants and even the Plant Foldie community. We may have some signed copies, and it also features Mr. Benz of Aglomart 88. He has a Aglaonema farm out in Indonesia, and he is also another legendary Indonesian hybridizer. So I wanted to go ahead and just put in this little blur because this should be available at PlantCon 2025 in Dallas, Texas, which will be October 18th and 19th. So definitely look for this book at Art Garden Flowers booth. So excited to have these Aglaonema. And if you are interested in getting these Aglaonema, just like Aroid Asia, these plants can be sent to you directly. They have a QR code with all the plant pricing as well. So we will continue to push the campaign of hashtag popularize Aglaonema. But for today's video, I am super excited to really feature a lot of the plants that Aroid Asia will send me, and hopefully you guys will also consider following at Aroid Asia on Instagram and check out their website. But again, I just recently got this. So what happens is Aroid Asia actually sends this package to their broker, which is based out in New Jersey. They're the ones that make sure that the plants are delivered safely, healthy, and then they repackage the plants once everything is good quality and actually passes all the certifications and everything in terms of regulations for that. So once that happens, they will repackage it and send it directly to your home. So there are two packaging routes for these plants. So really happy that Aroid Asia was willing to work with me. They ended up just messaging me and letting me know that they wanted to do a collaboration. Now, there are some other YouTubers, content creators that have received plants from Aroid Asia. Again, the packaging was really good. We're going to see if these plants are going to actually do well in the unboxing. So we're going to see what that all looks like. So for the first one right over here, let's take a look at this. We're going to go ahead and see how these plants traveled. And let's see, we're going to go ahead and unbox this real quick. And you can see this is the Aglaonema unicorn. So they gave me a choice, and obviously I wanted to go ahead and get some Aglaonemas. You'll notice that this Aglaonema unicorn had about 3 or 4 leaves that actually did not make it. And here's the thing, and I want everybody that watches my content, especially when it comes to getting plants from overseas, it is normal to see some of the leaves not make it. It is literally something that happens whenever you get plants from overseas. Now, if you get lucky and the plants come in perfect condition, a lot of factors happen. One would be maybe the shipping was super fast. Maybe the time it was shipped, the weather in which it entered the United States, for instance, was perfect, because you got to think about this plant. It travels from Indonesia to their broker out in New Jersey and then gets repackaged to be sent directly to your home. So there is already a lot of trauma and stress that happens with the plants. But with this Aglaonema, you can see that I just removed the dead leaves. And what's really important is really the root system. So as you can see right here, these plants went through the process of having all of the soil substrate removed and also just making sure that there are no plant pests. And you can see right here, this one has some pretty good roots. I would say that this Aglaonema will definitely need to grow more roots, but in terms of whether I want to take care of this Aglaonema and put it into a soil substrate, I'm comfortable doing that. I mean, you can see right there are enough roots right here. And with Aglaonema, again, they are slow growers. I would also say, in terms of getting plants safe from Aroid Asia, know that there is an acclimation period. So as long as you get healthy looking roots and enough to where it will recover, then you should be fine. Another thing that I would also mention in terms of getting plants from overseas is having realistic expectations. So while we hope to get plants that are in great condition, that may not always be the case. So if you have any plants that didn't necessarily make it, especially if you buy from Aroid Asia, definitely send a message to the their Instagram page or their customer service. I'm sure they can work with getting you a replacement. But you can see right here, this is another one that's packaged. This one is also in sphagnum moss. This is another uncommon type of Hoya. This is a Hoya lacanosa black aurora. And so with the Hoyas, I am actually starting to get into some Hoyas. Aroid Asia has many varieties of Hoyas that you can get. Again, you can send them a direct message on their Instagram page, which I feel is really important. Whenever you're getting an international seller, you want to be able to reach them very quickly. You should be able to get pictures of the plant or be able to at least get some communication from them. Other things that you would also want to look at is the amount of reviews a specific seller has and whether they've been on the website or their Instagram page long. That's just to make sure that you are finding a reputable type of seller. But Aroid Asia, they've been around for quite a while. We've seen many unboxing reviews, and you can see this one right here. This Hoya traveled extremely well. What I'm going to do with this particular Hoya is actually grow it or let it stay in the sphagnum moss for a little bit before I actually pot it up in a soil substrate. So for this one, super happy, and I am really happy to have gotten a pretty rare Hoya. Correct me if I'm wrong for any of the Hoya heads, but you can see right here, the next one is going to be another one. So I recently did a houseplant tour featuring Caleb's Tropicals. He is an Anthurium hybridizer based out in Dallas, Texas. So I'm actually happy to receive some Anthurium. So you can see right over here that this one is another one from Aroid Asia. They ended up getting me a really interesting Anthurium, and you can see right off the bat it traveled fairly well. Anthuriums can be a bit of a finicky plant, so a couple of things I wanted to mention. There's just a little bit of yellowing, but you can see that there is a new inflow coming around. Anthurium doriyaki hybrid, so it might have been hybridized with another type of Anthurium. I love the doriyaki Anthuriums. Actually, I would love to get an Anthurium doriyaki Lux, but as you can see right here, the care that was taken in terms of Aroid Asia, really happy. And then I'm really just thankful that they considered working with me on a collaboration. Again, my unboxing videos is really to give you a realistic expectation about import plants, because I think, getting plants from overseas sometimes gets a negative reputation because some people, get plants that may not be the healthiest. And that is sometimes normal. It's not always going to be perfect. Like, would have I preferred this Anthurium to have like perfect leaves? Absolutely. But me, having received plants from overseas in the past, I know my realistic expectations. As long as it has a nice root system, which it does. Look at how nice and white the roots are. They look healthy. I am really satisfied with that. And what I'll do with this Anthurium is, chop off some of the crispy sides of the leaves with some scissors. And with this particular one, I am going to hydrate this, probably leave it in a nutrient solution using Super Thrive for a good 24 to 72 hours before I actually pot it up in a substrate. And what I want to use this time around is actually pot it up in straight perlite in a semi-hydroponic self-watering planter. I learned that Anthuriums actually like consistency, and I feel like that would give it the best consistency. But let me know what you think about this Anthurium doriyaki hybrid. I'm really happy with it as well. And then we're going to keep going on with this unboxing. So let's take a look at this. This is another type of Hoya that I'm not really familiar with. It is a Hoya Insularis. I can't even really pronounce it, but we're going to see how it travels. This one right here is a little bit more of a delicate type of Hoya. So let's just see how it traveled 10,000 miles from Indonesia to North Dallas. So let's see what it looks like. So in terms of the packaging, again, it is supposed to just all be in sphagnum moss. You can see that it is interesting. This is another uncommon type of Hoya. So for any of the Hoya heads that are into Hoyas, let me know in the comment section what you think. But you can see right here, it did take a little bit of stress. I wouldn't say that this one necessarily traveled as well, but I am still happy that, I was able to get it. So here is worst case scenario. As long as the node is actually intact, then I can either repropagate it or just let the roots grow out. I would also say, with my experience with plants from overseas, there is a chance where you may end up sending that to plant heaven, and this one looks to be in the precarious state. You can see that I've lost a little bit of the leaf, but that is the reason why we want to make sure we do honest unboxing videos. I don't really want to edit out a lot of things. I want you to really get the full effect. And you can see right there are roots. This is definitely going to need to be rehydrated. And so we'll see if this one will make it through. But either way, I am happy to have received the plant. And then we're just going to move on to the next plant. And as you can see right here, Plant Foldies, this is the Aglaonema Black Milky Way. And I really wanted this plant because it's got some nice pastel minty tone to it. As you can see right off the bat, there are about 2 to 3 leaves, maybe 4 leaves that are not going to make it. They're turning yellow, and this one might have taken a little bit more stress than others. You know, I have gotten so many Aglaonema from overseas in the past. And, you know, this one right here, it is a little bit beat up, but I am confident that this particular Aglaonema will make it through the acclimation period. What I've learned is rather than to actually soak up the Aglaonema in a nutrient solution, it's better to actually plant them in a soil substrate as soon as possible and just to let them grow out in a shaded area outdoors. There are some nutrient solutions that I use in terms of making sure that they bounce back from the stress. But as you can see right here, let's take a look at the roots. So the root system is really more important. And you can see right over here, we've got some really healthy roots. So that is really the most important part. And hopefully this is educational for anybody that is interested in buying plants from Aroid Asia. I think that this is one thing that a lot of people may not be aware of is the acclimation or care that you would need to do in order for these plants to do well. But I am really happy with the root system. Nothing is soggy. All of the roots are pretty firm and they're still pretty hydrated. They're not super dehydrated after a long journey. So I'm super happy about this one. This one is another uncommon Aglaonema. And what I'll do is I will actually remove the dead leaves, like this yellow one right here. That one needs to go ahead and go. Same thing with any of the other leaves that are pretty yellow. And the reason why I do that is instead of the plant actually focusing its energy to keep those leaves alive, I would rather just promote more growth. And so I will actually pot this up today as I receive this Aglaonema. And you can see right there, once you remove the dead leaves, it still looks pretty good. Really happy with this Aglaonema. And you can see that the roots are still fabulous as well. So this one I know is going to do very well. And then I will do another update in a couple weeks on my YouTube membership tier to show you what that looks like. But look at how beautiful these are. So this is the Anthurium doriyaki hybrid, and you can see that I've chopped up the crispy parts of the leaf, and I know that it may not look as aesthetically pleasing, but what's going to happen is once we get this Anthurium to establish and it grows new growth, I can either get rid of some of the not so perfect leaves. What I am doing, and you can see right over here, is Plant Foldies. I made a mixture of just using Super Thrive solution. It's a B complex vitamin solution that you can use to de-stress your plants, to give them some more vigor, to actually rehydrate them. So for me, while I could actually put this in a substrate already, I want to take it a little bit easy on these particular plants, the Anthuriums at least, and let them rehydrate. And then I'm going to show you in the later part of the video how I pot them up in straight perlite. That's something I learned from my friend Caleb. Again, Caleb Tropicals, where he hybridizes a bunch of Anthuriums. If you haven't checked out his houseplant tour, definitely check it out on the YouTube channel. But super happy about this Anthurium doriyaki hybrid. I love Anthurium doriyakis, and the fact that I was able to get one at a pretty good, health. Some people will say, yeah, it's got some yellowing on it. But again, I want to highlight the fact that whenever you are getting plants from overseas, it is normal to see some damage or some stress on the plants. It's the same thing with this one right here. You may end up seeing a little bit more yellowing as the plant acclimates, but after at least 3 to 4 weeks, you should see better, recovery from the plants. It's really just giving them that extra care, and especially with plants that have traveled from overseas, that's something that a lot of people don't know, and hopefully my content actually gives you a little bit more of a realistic picture of it. I will say getting plants from overseas, the pros about getting it is you should be able to get them at a more cost-effective price. The cons would be there is always a risk of the plant not fully acclimating, and sometimes a plant just making it to plant heaven. So whatever money you put into getting a plant from overseas, know that you can potentially lose that. It's kind of like whenever you buy plants even in the United States, the only difference is a lot of the plants obviously have been acclimated and are actively growing. So Here you go again. I'm just showing you, I just went ahead and rehydrated this Hoya lacanosa black aurora, and then we're gonna move on to the next portion of this video. The plant products I would highly recommend is getting cold pressed neem oil. You can buy that on Amazon, as well as utilizing Super Thrive. I make a neem oil spray to clean up the plants and just to make sure that there are no potential pests that the actual plants would have gotten. But you know, in order for them to have even made it here, they would have had to have a rigorous cleaning and to make sure that they were pest free. And then you can see right over here, we have Super Thrive. Highly recommend using this solution for your nutrient solution for the plants. It really does make a difference in terms of rehydrating the plant. And again, Neem Bliss, this is the one cold pressed neem oil that I use, and you can use that to make a spray to just make sure your plants are protected. And now I am going to pot up my my Anthurium. You can see that it has been dehydrated. One of the leaves have gotten a little bit yellow. This is about 72 hours later. And so you can see that there is a little bit of stress, but you know what? After this plant actually recovers and acclimates, I'm confident that it's going to push out some beautiful leaves. So I'm using another self-watering planter. You can see that this one has been reused. I used to grow some type of plant in lechuza pond, but today I am going to go ahead and pot this up using just perlite that I bought from HEB, which is a local grocery store out in North McKinney. And so you can see that this is how I'm going to pot it up. I'm just using straight perlite today. And you know, part of me wants to remove the yellow leaf, but I think I'm going to leave it on there for now and see what happens. I would want to give you guys an update on this particular Anthurium. Let me know in the comment section if you're interested in seeing it. And then again, as far as the Anthuriums, you know, Anthuriums can be finicky plants. And the fact that this plant had to be uprooted from its original substrate, cleaned thoroughly, and then had to have a drying period, and then ended up just having to travel overseas back into the United States, and then had to be checked again and then be sent to my doorstep. It does take a lot on the plant. And so you can see that that one particular yellow leaf is eventually going to have to retire and go. I may end up just taking it off eventually just for aesthetic purposes. But again, I want to give you an honest picture of the plants, because if you were to buy plants from Aroid Asia, I want you to have a realistic expectation, so that way you know what the care tips are and what you're expecting as well. Now, would you want this to be a little bit more perfect? Yes, but I am still thankful that Aroid Asia was able to get me some of these plants, and I am really confident that this particular Anthurium doriyaki hybrid is going to do well, especially in just a perlite substrate. Like, I didn't even realize how easy it would be to grow it. Literally my friend Caleb, who grows a bunch of anthuriums, he just has them in perlite substrates and lets them sit in water, and that is it. So we're going to see if that works for me. What I'm going to do is once I pot this up, and the second anthurium is what I'm going to pot up, is I will pot them up in perlite, and then I will thoroughly rinse them out with water and then water them with a nutrient solution using Super Thrive. And you can see this one right here is already rehydrated. So we're going to go ahead and pot this beautiful anthurium up. You can see that there are some yellowing on that one original leaf. And this is again after 3 days sitting in nutrient solution. So we're going to see how these acclimate, and I will keep you posted. But again, it is just really exciting to be able to show you my unboxing and how I put them in a substrate. So I am just gently putting the perlite in there, making sure that it covers all of the roots. And then I'm going to water these plants and then water them again with nutrient solution. I am also going to use a little bit of mycorrhizae powder to just sprinkle on top to just help the roots establish. Mycorrhizae is a really good addition to your plants as well. And then I'm going to fill up the water reservoir with just a little bit of nutrient solution, which consists of just water and a little bit of Super Thrive. Now I'm just filling up the water reservoir with some nutrient solution consisting of just Super Thrive, and I'm going to fill it up to the point where it's going to sit in a little bit of water. You don't want to fill it up all the way and drown the roots, but you want it enough to where it's going to take up some of that nutrient solution water, and hopefully my Anthurium from Aroid Asia will acclimate and recover from its long journey from Indonesia all the way out to North Dallas. And as a precautionary tip, I like to use We the Wild Neem Oil Protect Spray. You can buy this at a big box store called Target if they still have it available, or you can just go to We the Wild's website. And what I like to do is spray it, just because whenever you have plants that are extremely stressed, they are more susceptible to plant pests. And so I just want to go ahead and add an extra layer of protection. So I like to spray down my plants with We the Wild Neem Oil Spray. So if you don't want to make a DIY neem oil spray, you can just buy this one. It doesn't smell bad at all. It actually has a really nice smell, and I like to spray down my plants, especially the ones that I get from overseas. this is me potting up these Anthuriums. Let me know in the comment section what you think. And I know that some of the Anthurium has some yellowing. What I'm gonna hope for this plant to do is push out some new growth, and eventually I will chop up that one Anthurium leaf that is yellow and just doesn't look good. But again, that's just part of the process. Sometimes whenever you get plants from overseas, you know, things to consider in terms of getting plants from overseas is number one, just making sure you have a budget to where if you're gonna buy plants, it's always better to buy multiples because you save more money on the shipping. And then number two, just the care that it requires. Know that you shouldn't have perfection expectations, especially when you think about how these plants have to be cleaned up and also the travel time. Sometimes you get lucky where some plants come in perfectly and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the timing factors in, but I mean, look at how beautiful the potential of this Anthurium doriyaki is going to look like. And so me using perlite, I'm very confident that this particular Anthurium is going to recover and push out some beautiful leaves for me in the future. So I didn't get to show you how I potted up these Aglaonema. So I actually potted up my Aglaonema unicorn the day I received these plants, and this is actually about 4 days later, and so you can see that nothing else has died off. I am just going to go ahead and spray a little bit more of that neem oil spray, the We the Wild Neem Oil Protect spray. You can see that there is a new growth point, and the soil substrate that I'm using for this particular Aglaonema is actually Fox Farm Soil the Ocean Blend. And you can see right over here we've got a beautiful Aglaonema black Milky Way, and you can see that there's no leaves that are dying. There's just a little bit of yellowing on one of the leaves, but that was there earlier. I am just going to give this a little bit of time for them to recover and acclimate. But as you can see right here, in terms of the plants, I got an uncommon Aglaonema, and I'm really happy about it. So, you know, to pretty much showcase these plants, you can see that this Aglaonema has a little bit of time to just recover and hopefully push out some new growth. Once it actually establishes its roots, it's going to push out more growth. The only problem with Aglaonema, again, is that they are a little bit slower growing. What I've also used with the soil substrate, Fox Farm, I really love that soil, is I have actually added a little bit of mycorrhizae powder to the soil because I really want to make sure that the roots have the best ability to uptake some of the nutrients. That's another way to actually increase the chances of survival and recovery for your plants that you get from overseas, is to actually use mycorrhizae powder, because it actually creates a biosystem in your soil to where your roots are going to be stronger. They're going to be able to take the nutrients a little bit more effectively and more efficiently when you have that mycorrhizae in there. In terms of what I watered these plants, I am actually lightly watering them with Super Thrive solution, but they also have this Fox Farm fertilizer called Comeback Formula, where it helps plants that are struggling to come back. And so I've been watering that as well. I'll leave the links to those fertilizers and nutrient solutions that I've used to acclimate my plants. Again, feel free to leave in the comment section if you have any questions about, you know, acclimating your plants that you get from overseas. As far as Aroid Asia, they have a long reputation of being able to ship plants from Indonesia to, you know, at least the United States, although I believe they can ship to other parts of the world. So if you're interested in their Aglaonema, it looks like they've increased their Aglaonema selection section on their website, and I'm really happy to have worked with Aroid Asia in terms of that. And you can see right here, I went ahead and potted this up in, again, Fox Farm Ocean I keep saying fertilizer, but there are a lot of Fox Farm fertilizers that I like to use. I would recommend watering your plants that you get from overseas if you're able to get the Fox Farm comeback formula. Use mycorrhizae powder so you can actually make the soil as welcoming and you know, making sure that these roots are going to establish. You can see that there is a growth point here. I wouldn't really soak up these Aglaonema in like drenching the water. I would just lightly get it wet. And if you are able to still keep these plants outdoors in a shaded area where it gets morning light, that is the best way to really get your plants to recover. At least that's what I've gotten so far in terms of just being able to grow my plants. But this one is the Aglaonema Black Milky Way. And then I am just going to show you the final look of all of the plants I received from Aroid Asia. Again, I am just really happy to have received these plants because of just how beautiful they are, even though that they did have some cosmetic damage. But you can see right here in terms of the quality of the plants I got, I'm really happy with it. I am satisfied, and that's because I know realistically what you know, plants could potentially look like when you receive them from overseas. Sometimes they come in perfect condition. Oftentimes they have a little bit of cosmetic damage, and that's really because of the travel and stress that these plants get. So if you are willing to be adventurous and actually get plants, if you are willing to get plants that are uncommon or rare for a more cost-effective plant price, you can always buy from overseas. I would recommend shopping at aroidasia.com. You can send them a direct message on Instagram as well. I believe they're going to give me a promo code where you can possibly get a discount. So if I get that, definitely check the discount promo code that will be in the video description. Let me know, Plant Foldies, what you think. I know that these are videos that I like to create as well, outside of just doing big box store plant shopping videos. I am really excited to see where these plants will go in terms of their growth and their recovery. But, you know, to get 2 Anthuriums, 2 Hoyas, and 2 Aglaonemas from Aroid Asia sent to me so I could do an unboxing review, I'm super thankful, and will continue to work with Aroid Asia. So if you have any questions about the process of getting these plants, what that looks like, please let me know in the comment section below, or you can follow me on my Instagram page at GrowFold. Send me a direct message and I can actually connect with you with Aroid Asia as well. Hopefully this has been educational for you, as well as just insightful in terms of realistic expectations of getting plants from overseas, what to do when you receive them, how to unbox them, what type of nutrient solution should you use, and the type of soil substrates you can use for your plants, and the timing of it. Hopefully I've covered that. But for me, especially when I get plants like Aglaonema from overseas, I go ahead and pot them up in a soil substrate. For other plants such as Anthuriums, depending on their roots, whether they need to rehydrate, sometimes I'll give them 24 to 48 hours, maybe even 72 hours, depending on that. And if I have a plant that just has lost its leaves or hasn't done very well, I will just have to leave it in water for it to regrow some of its roots, and that's also part of it. But otherwise, I feel like this has been a good plant haul, a good unboxing video. I would love to know your insights about the plants that I've gotten today, and hopefully you will support Aroid Asia. They have been super kind to me, and special thanks to my friends at Aroid Asia for working with me on this collaboration video. Hopefully you guys have learned something, and hopefully you guys will consider buying plants from them in the future. I would absolutely love that. I always love supporting international vendors as well, because this is is their way of making their living, and we always want to support those that have a passion for plants. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap with this video by just showing you a little bit more of the plants. And this is literally about a week of receiving the plants. So I will give you another growth update for these imported plants in the near future. I'm probably going to put that in my YouTube membership tier. So if you haven't already, please consider joining my YouTube membership tier, the Super Plant Foldies. Definitely shop aroidasia.com. Let them know that GrowFolds, you are a Plant Foldie, and definitely support them. But otherwise, this is a beautiful haul. Really thankful. I am happy with the plants I've received, and even more happy that I am able to share this journey with you and also educate our viewers to really know what the realistic expectations are for plants that you get overseas. As always, please consider joining my YouTube membership tier. It helps with the sustainability of my YouTube channel. It is only for $2.99. And as always, my name is Richie at GrowFolds. Please subscribe with all the notification bell on. I'm going to have more updates soon. Bye.